anong dikitan? El General, all-purpose epoxy. Posting, El General all-purpose epoxy. Palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan.
Itong part na to.
Si Vic Soto na ata ang pinakaswerteng tao sa Pilipinas. Kahit hindi niya alam, kahit hindi niya sinasadya. Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
PlayTime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo. Swerte sa akin ng PlayTime. You're welcome. PlayTime. Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
Di ba tayo makakapenta?
Yes! Don't worry, be unleashed with Smart's Power All 99. Hindi bitin ang benta with only TikTok or Facebook plus 10 gig data and more. Load now!
Di abot ang data!
GG bro! Don't worry, be unleashed with Smart Power All 99. Hindi bitin with 10 gig data to power your games plus only Facebook or only TikTok. Load now!
swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
PlayTime. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Swerte sa akin ng PlayTime. You're welcome.
Hindi abot ang data! Nice!
Don't worry, be unleashed with Smart Power All 99. Hindi na bitin with 10 gig data plus only Facebook or TikTok and more. Load now!
On-purpose epoxy. El General, matibay na dikitan. Konkreto, kahoy, bakal. Posting, El General all-purpose epoxy. Palabahan sa kahit anong dikitan.
Sa ABC, sigurado ka. Sa dikitan, di ka papalya. Sa ABC, sigurado ka. Pulido ang trabaho, di ka papalya. ABC, sigurado ka dito.
Here's the live here at the Filoil EcoOil Center para sa inyong PlayTime Cares. Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup presented to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. Still a lot of games have happened all throughout the day and we are down to the final match of this afternoon. It's the CSB Blazers going up against the Perpetual Altas for the final matchup. The fourth match of the day. It is still us, Hans Galeria, and of course Randolph Leongson, joined by Courtney Buenaventura later at courtside. Randolph, this is definitely going to be a game to watch.
Yeah, CSB looking for early leadership in our NCAA group, winning their first two games. Meanwhile, debuting itong Perpetual Altas na ang daming rest back. As you were just talking during our last game, a lot of players who are going up from their high school team and now playing for the college, but the focus first is on CSB, which won their last game against Arellano.
Solid outing galing dito sa CSB Blazers. They were going up against Arellano, who's looking to avenge their 0-1 loss. But one thing that we've noticed from them is their bench scoring. They have a lot of players, multiple players, scoring in double figures.
Yeah, a lot of weapons for the Blazers. You see there, Ian Torres, 13.7 rebounds. But really, Sean Umali has been a heaven-sent inclusion for them, adding another dimension to their front court, which already features the reigning NCAA MVP Allen Liwag, also Matthew Oli and Gio Gonzaga having additional contributions just an all-out contributions, all-out performance for the Blazers in that second win last Thursday.
They're definitely looking to keep up with the momentum na nakuha nila noong nakaraan, especially with a win that we've mentioned kani-kanina lamang. Key matchups brought to you by PusoPilipinas.com. As of this moment, it's Matthew Oli going up against Mark Goho Cruz. Those are two guards that can definitely be Spitfire guards, if you would say, because they could be solid, streaky shooters heading on.
Yeah, Matthew Oli, as you saw, just a significant bench contributor. Kumbaga, instant offense coming from the bench. Meanwhile, Mark Gojo Cruz, in his sophomore year, we expect great things from that guard, especially na marami siyang kapwa junior altas ng mga kasama in the seniors team of Coach Olsen Rosella.
Quite interesting, right? So he's not gonna be unfamiliar with the system, not only with the system, but also with the play. And now, let's toss it to Roy Zacote, our game announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are live inside the PlayTime Filoil Center here in San Juan for the PlayTime Cares 18th Filoil EcoOil Preseason Cup, presented by ABC Tile Adhesive. Sigurado ka dito. This is game number 11 in our NCAA group between the Perpetual Altas versus the CSB Blazers. Let us now meet the starters for both teams. First, for the Perpetual Altas, point guard number 8, L.A. Casinillo. Shooting guard number 19, Mark Goho Cruz. At small forward number 10, Patrick Sleet. Power forward number 14, John Abbas. And at center number 21, Jericho Nunez. Head coach of the Perpetual Altas is Olsen Rosella. And now the starters for your CSB Blazers. Point guard number 17, Jomel Ancheta. Shooting guard number 19, S.J. Moore. At small forward number 35, Rafi Celis. Power forward number 34, Allen Liwag. And at center number 28, Sean Umali. Head coach of the CSB Blazers is Charles Chu. Our officials for this game.
PusoPilipinas.com starting 5 for CSB Blazers. It's Ancheta, Moore, Umali, Celis at Liwag. Para naman sa Perpetual Altas, it's Casinillo, Goho Cruz, Nunez, Sleet, and Abis. For Benilde, it's kind of like a standard routine from what we've seen in that first game. But for Perpetual, this is their chance, together with their new lineup, to test it out before the start of the season.
Yeah, I'm interested to see L.A. Casinillo start off at the point guard spot. Again, this transferee from NU, not really getting his opportunities with the Bulldogs, now finding a home with the Altas. Same naman kay Patrick Lee, was featured heavily in his time with FEU. We expect the same or probably more in his time with the Altas.
First possession is going to be huge for both teams as Benilde misses their first chance. Casinillo, first pass, patungo kay Jericho Nunez for that 2 points.
And again, that's what you can expect from L.A. Casinillo. Maybe didn't really get his opportunities with the glut of point guards in Hoxon, but he will be featured heavily as a premier point guard for the Altas.
Here's another big guy that you're going to have to watch out for. Sean Umali forcing the issue and getting 2 points.
And I told you, Sean Umali has just been heaven sent for the Blazers, adding a little bit of a different dimension. And it's interesting for me, has to see him and Allen Liwag starting off this game. Now Coach Charles Chu trying to operate with that twin tower combo, inside-outside attack for the Blazers.
And that time around, Jericho Nunez, one of the key players so far on this team, now has 4 points.
Yeah, all points of Perpetual coming from Jericho Nunez, just making the most of the opportunities. And again, if you're Perpetual, when you get to receive those passes, you got to make those count.
Patrick Sliti, Iwan, papunta kay John Abbas. And so far, all of the attempts coming in for Perpetual are working so well.
And 3 conversions, all coming off assists. That has been beautiful basketball for Perpetual to start this game.
Definitely putting on the fast pace, but here is someone who can put it at a fast pace as well. S.J. Moore introducing himself in this game.
And SJ Moore, just a bundle of energy, using that athleticism into good use, beating Mark Goho Cruz off the break, and he will try to put CSB back within 1 point.
That's always the reason why our coaches would always try to point out na kailangan bantayan mo yung baseline, because most of the players nowadays heavily favor that right side, and CSB down by just 1.
And that's really the opening that you can get, especially with a quick first step from SJ Moore.
Oh, Cruz a little strong on that attempt. Abis keeps it alive for Perpetual. This is Patrick Sleet looking for an extra step, but that time Celis grabs the steal. Benilde looking to take the lead right back. Ancheta slowing it down more from way downtown. Masyadong malakas yun. And a foul is called against CSB.
And you know, despite that missed three-pointer by SJ Moore, you got to love how confident he is when it comes to handling that basketball. In his first year with USD after graduation, a little bit tentative when he was forced to play more for 1, but now that he's back in his element in CSB, you can see that little umph in his game, and he's back and playing that 2 position.
6-5 still the score. It is still Perpetual with the lead. Now John Abis trying to test himself. Just 7 seconds remaining. Extra passes patungo kay Casinillo para sa 3.
And you gotta love the passing game of Perpetual in this game. Very unselfish and very patient in trying to locate that open man. And that's the reason why they have this 4-point lead.
First 3 of the game para kay LA Casinillo. Now Omani leaves it for the MVP. Allen Liwak unable, but a high flyer. SJ Moore unable to put it back.
Yeah, out of nowhere for that offensive board. Everything but shot for SJ Moore.
4 is the lead para sa Perpetual, as SJ Moore stops the play from happening. So it's been, you know, a nit and nat, but look at this 3-pointer of the game, presented to you by Jiang Nan Hot Pot. Hot Pot ba? Jiang Nan Na. LA Casinillo had an extra soup on his step. Now here's an isolation play. Sleet catches Mark. Go, Cruz, that does not work. Ball taken by Ancheta, and Celis slows it down. Another high-low play now. Liwak testing the defense of Abis. Trying the second time, can't find it. Umali, 3. That's good.
And that's really the dangers of having both Allen Liwak and Sean Umali on the floor, inside, outside attack. The big man has to pick his poison, and that one, he left Sean Umali open for that 3.
He was at the bench in their first game. This time around, part of the starting lineup, paving off good defense, having the chance to take this lead from Perpetual. Ancheta feeds the big guy, but that is a traveling violation. Nang itatawag na namang muli para dito sa Benilde. Looking at it, that's your Bostic El General all-purpose epoxy rebound of the quarter. It's the smaller Ancheta getting it over Nunez. Extra pass, Goho Cruz, he's gonna test it again, and 3rd time's the charm.
And all day to shoot for Mark Goho Cruz. He's got that corner marked for the longest time. It's just a matter of when he will receive that ball, and he made that one count.
12-8 is the score. Almost at the halfway point of the first quarter. Benilde leaving it. What a pass, what a cut, what a feed. Patungo kay Rafi Celis.
And that's really Jomel Ancheta in a nutshell. He might not be the most striking on the court, again, being the smallest, but he's one of the smartest.
One of the reasons why he's there, part of the starting lineup, ni Coach Charles Chu. On the other hand, there's an attempt coming in from Perpetual. That's not going to work. Ancheta wanted to leave it again. It was too obvious for Goho Cruz. And a foul is committed. Pretty fast-paced action, and I honestly think na yun ang unang foul na nakita natin in this quarter.
But again, you have to credit the defense of Perpetual just hunting. And they're really aware of the passing lanes that CSB is trying to exploit, and they are quick to intercept those passes.
You're seeing the system of Coach Olsen Racela starting to come in play right away. Yung tila ba hindi na nagkakaroon ng kapaan even when they're under new management.
And you know, that's one of the things when you have a coach as great of a player as Olsen Racela is, eventually mamimiro yan nung nilalaro ng team mo. And that's that smart basketball, that pro style. And that's been evident for Perpetual last year, and now we're seeing it being fine-tuned in this preseason.
Too big, too strong, and too athletic itong si Patrick Sleet. As you're taking a look at it once again, using that behind the back extra hop, going over Rafi Ceres for his first 2 points of the game. And his first 2 points as an Altas.
And you know, I really like what I'm seeing with Patrick Sleet. Seems like he added a bit of heft in his body, a little bit of muscle, and that will come very handy for him as he battles the higher level of physicality in the NCAA.
He doesn't need to worry about physicality if he's physical himself.
Yeah. You have to be unfazed, right?
That's what the off season can do for you. That's what at least a year of residency
1 year
can
of
do for you.
residency. Parang Winter Soldier na nasa chamber.
Nasa chamber at pinakawala na ni Coach Olsen Racela. Lead goes back up to 4. It's been like that for a while. Allen Liwag tested by Nunez. Now it's up. Liwag does not go. 15-10 is the score so far. Lamang ng 5 ang Perpetual. Cross-court pass. Here's a shot on the way. That's not going to work, but look at who's there. Another putback, this time from Kenji Duremdes.
Yeah, Kenji Duremdes now balling for Perpetual. We've seen flashes of that in his time with USD, just an all-out effort, and now he's making Captain Marbel proud with his efforts.
17-10 is the score. Angat sa 7 ang kalamangan ngayon ng Perpetual. Kenji Duremdes, another transferee as well, looking to make his mark right here. More cuts from the Altas, but instead they find something else. A cross-court pass intercepted. Kahupom, 3-on-1. He gets his own rebound. Now he's going to set up the play. But look who's open. Sanchez doesn't get that shot to fall. And Coach Olsen Racela asking them to calm down. Sean Argo, bagong pasok lang din. Jericho Nunez and Avis getting some extended minutes. Now Argo, some room. Doesn't get it to go. Both teams, past possessions have been misses. But Liwag goes all the way.
And you really like to see that from Allen Liwag, taking it strong to the basket. There are times last season where you see Allen Liwag having the tendency of shying away from the physicality, but with the size that he has to not be fearful of those collisions.
Look at that, not fearful of the collisions at all. Itong si Josh Kahupom, and just like that, they're down by just 3.
That's how fast CSB can erase this lead. This is a high-octane team on offense, and this Perpetual team has to be wary of giving that momentum on the side of the green shirts.
And another turnover para sa Perpetual as an illegal screen was caught by one of our officials. More Perpetual Altas players are starting to come in the lineup. Sean O'Malley din lalabas muna para sa Benilde. Moel Morales, we've seen this guy before. We used to cover this guy before.
Yeah, in high school. But now this is an interesting point because Allen Liwag and Sean O'Malley were both pulled out. So now you see Coach Charles trying to bank more on their athleticism. Medyo mas maliit ng konti, but you expect them to quicken the pace with this 5.
Now Sanchez looking to challenge the defense, and that time itong si Allen Maglupay ang matatawagan ng personal foul. First pa lang naman yan, but already the 3rd team foul para sa Altas.
Yeah, a lot of transferees finding a home with Perpetual, and it seems like they are really hungry to make the most of the second chances that they find in Las Piñas.
Sanchez gets a screen from Morales. He's looking to challenge the two. That was an attempt given to Gaspay. But instead of going out of bounds, a foul is called against the Altas.
Kind of a bailout call for CSB with Jake Gaspay already losing real estate down low. But they get a bit of a reprieve with 14 seconds on the shot clock.
Fresh 14 awarded to the Blazers. Inbound gets it to Gaspay. Now another cut and a block. This time, Maglupay redeems himself from that foul earlier.
And you know, when you're a transfer, you talked about LA, Casinillo, Allen, Maglupay, even Pat and Sleep. When you find yourself another home, it seems like you always want to prove yourself. Kumbaga may chip ka on your shoulder eh.
Look at that outlet pass, and that is touchdown. Maglupay gets the block on the other and gets the 2 points in one.
And that's really impeccable performance from Allen Maglupay, proving that he's worthy of the minutes that is given. And again, that's just a quick, I mean, he's just outrunning the whole CSB team.
ABC Tile Adhesive, fast break of the game. Sean Orgo, ala Tom Brady. And then after that, it was what? Rob Gronkowski on the other side in Allen Maglupay. But this time, your free throws are brought to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. ABC Tile Adhesive, sigurado ka dito. Justin Sanchez at the line to shoot for two. And, you know, honestly, is that's one of the rarest things that you can ever see in all of basketball.
That's the first time that I've ever seen a wedgie just roll through the rim and then go to a wedgie.
You know, it didn't even sink in as soon as you gave me a nudge. Like, really? He didn't make the same mistake again. So that's a point. And a wedgie.
That deserves at least half a point, right?
Yeah, at least. I will never forget that moment. But this is a foul that's going to be written in the stat sheet, as Tulabot is going to be called for a foul. And just like that, Randolph, penalty na.
Yeah, penalty situation for Perpetual. As good of a start as they've had. They've been committing fouls here and there and rewarding opportunities to CSB to close the gap. This time they're giving Gab Gometa a chance, and you cannot let guys like Gab Gometa get the rhythm on the floor because they will haunt you with those outside shots. I believe only the first point of the game for Gab Gometa.
Gab Gometa, kapalit. Lots of, you know, guards na kumbaga they may be, you know, slightly small in terms of the game, pero nakakapuwing pa rin eh, di ba? Maliit man sa iyong paningin, nakakapuwing pa rin.
And you know, for CSB, that's a big opening for them. That point guard spot, Jomel Ancheta has done a tremendous job as a starter, but Joshua Kahukom had his moment. Gab Gometa is just, you know, the potential is there from his time in San Beda. So it's just a matter of finding that right consistency to earn that starting point guard role for the Blazers.
It's going to be a fight for that all season, for sure. We're going to figure out all throughout this tournament.
There's also Ian Torres there.
You're right about that. I mean, there's a lot of players that they're actually missing as of the moment. I was talking to, you know, Coach Paulo Layo kanina lamang, and he did mention that, you know, Antonio Sebio and Tony Inot are not going to be part of the team today, considering that they're representing the Philippines para sa Gilas under 23 3x3. Meanwhile, si Irel Galas naman, or should I say, si Irel Galas and Antonio Sebio for that 3x3. Meanwhile, itong si Tony Inot still at the injury report.
Yeah, still nursing that injury, but again, you know what you can get from Tony Inot whenever he's on the floor. So it's an opportunity for the other guards.
Yeah.
Here in the preseason especially, we talk about this being a simulation of the season. This is a time for you to make those mistakes, but also for the coaches to make those assessments on who deserves their spot in that final 16 and then on their rotations.
You know, there's a lot of players na nabanggit natin kanina that found their home. Perpetual had at least 5 of their junior players who are probably going to see them later. And then Ito namang Benilde, they've had a lot of transferees as well. Looking for those opportunities. Sean Umali and, SJ Moore, those players are looking for some time and looking to at least punan yung tiwala na ibinigay sa kanila ng CSB.
Yeah, and remember, this CSB team was the runner-up last year, so nothing short of a motivation for them to get back in that level and hopefully win it all this time out.
3 seconds remaining. Is Boral aware of it? That's going to be the case. Shot clock is now off. 10 seconds remaining. Orgo with the defensive stop. Boral taking a look at it, but he didn't saw Sanchez coming. 3 seconds remaining. Kahukom, 3 on the way. That's going to be no good. And at the end of the first 10 minutes of action, the Perpetual Altas lead by 4, 21-17. Here are the PlayTime Cares best plays of the quarter, Randolph. This is Perpetual with a fast-paced action.
Yeah, fantastic start for the Altas. You saw there Jericho Nunez, 4 points to his name. Marco Cruz, Patrick Street, all having their moments. Sean Umali, though, doing the heavy lifting, literally and figuratively, for Benilde. But they are still, Perpetual is up by 4.
Second quarter when we return.
On purpose, boxing, el general, matibay na dikitan, kahoy mano bakal, kahit sa kompleto, pwedeng imasilya, kahit anong dikitan, el general, all purpose epoxy. Boxing, El General All-Purpose Epoxy, palabaran sa kahit anong dikitan.
Coach Olsen Rosella shared that Perpetual's main focus this preseason is actually building their chemistry, especially with more than half of the team being new. Familiarity with the system is still a work in progress for them, but he's also pushing players like Gojo not just to continue being a top scorer like he was last season as a rookie, but to embrace a bigger role as a leader on the court. And with the team staying ahead this quarter, I believe that Coach Rosella is actually proving it to us that there is progress already when it comes to playing together. Thoughts on that, Hans Randolph?
A solid take coming in from Coach Olsen Rosella. Tama siya eh. Nasabi niya, napatunayan na nitong si Marco Cruz that he can score. But can he be a leader the longer that he stays there?
And this is going to be the incoming sophomore year for Marco Cruz. He has to understand that he's got ample help this time. Patrick Street is there, yung mga transferees, and yung mga kapwa junior altas niya, umakyat na rin. So it's not going to be a one-man show for him this time out, and you expect that maturity to be in full display this season 101.
We're going to be starting the second quarter with 2 points galing kay Moel Morales. And at that time, balik ang kalamangan ng Perpetual sa 2 puntos. This is a young kid looking to make the most out of his time here at Benilde, and at the same time, yung potential ng batang ito is still yet to be unlocked by the coaching staff. And I think with the plethora of big men that Coach Charles Chu has, it's going to be unlocked very soon.
Yeah, and really, that's the story for this young Benilde team. Ang daming resma, kumbaga. Ang daming bagong mukha. So it's a challenge for those holdovers to really heighten and improve, take their games up a notch this season.
JP Boral getting the first field goal para sa Altas in this second quarter. Solid outing wala sa kanya ngayon. He has 4 points in this game. 23-19. Here's Gaspay challenging, leaving, shooting, and shooting.
Yeah, that's going to be on L.A. Casinillo, leaving Josh Kahukom unmarked when he made the cut in the baseline. One of the rare miscues for Perpetual in this first half.
And it's quite unusual, di ba? Kasi ang na-drop pasan, yung
Big man, yeah.
when it's supposed to be the opposite way around. And now, Kahukom right on cue, soft touch, he gets the friendly bounce.
Yeah, 4 straight points for Josh Kahukom to level this game at 23. Again, the development that this kid will be interesting as they try to find that constant presence in the backcourt.
Here it goes again. Now, there was a slight tap, but Josh Alcantara cannot find a way to get that ball right back para sa Perpetual. Kaya naman babalik ang bola dito ngayon sa Benilde, and they have a chance to take the lead after Perpetual's solid start.
And you saw yung balasahan ng tao ni Coach Charles Chu Irvin Daha now checking back on the court for the green shirts.
Bondaha, solid player para sa De La Sanzobel way back in his high school days, will now be making his debut. How fast do these kids grow,
Yeah.
Randolph?
And you know, one guy who I believe is watching this intently, yung kapatid niya, yung Bondaha ng La Sanzobel, Ernest Daha now playing for Benilde. So both Dahas still wearing green. That's going to be an interesting sweepstakes when Bon decides to go to college.
That's gonna be a mindful take.
Yeah.
Especially para kay Ernest, wondering if he's gonna follow his kuya's footsteps or not. But either way, still some athletic figures, and at that time, hindi nga lang nila makukuha yung shot attempt, as a shot clock violation is gonna be there.
You know, Hans, I want to focus on that kid, Justin Sanchez. Feels like he's about to break out for the Blazers, and if he continues to play at that pace come season 101, he's going to be a danger, because we know how good that kid is from the high school level. It's just a matter of unlocking those untapped potentials and putting it in good use. And if he can do that, that's definitely going to be a championship for CSP.
And at that time, I felt like we've seen Sanchez everywhere.
Yeah.
Not only just, donning the Benilde jersey, but a lot of things at the same time, because the experience coming in from this kid, practicing with top talent, not only from the
Yeah,
Philippines,
with
but also the rest of the
SGA,
world, right?
Players like DeMarcus Cousins.
Rarely would you ever say
Yeah,
that.
I mean, kaya nga alam mo, Hans, pag nakuha ni Justin Sanchez yung laro niya din sa St. Benilde, isa lang masabi niya, handa na ba kayo?
Handa na ba kayo? Ibang Sanchez naman
Iba yun.
Ibang Sanchez yun. Pero tama ka naman. It's either mamimigay ng chinelas o mamimigay ng buckets. That's gonna be the matter at hand para kay Justin Sanchez, as Benilde is trying to rack up the potential here. The five that they have on the floor are actually what you would call the potential lineup.
Yes, but
Hindi dahil potential lineup, but because this is the lineup that could have the potential to go.
it's brimming with potential, and Coach Charles is giving them the opportunity na, sige, pakita nyo kung ano yung kaya nyong gawin. And now, Patrick Sleep, this is no surprise for us how great he is when it comes to driving to the basket.
Potential pala ang usapan, ha? Let me show you what could potentially happen if you get me on the floor. But Jake Gaspay introducing himself in this game. That's his first 2 points. Take a look at that one once more. Patrick Sleet soaring through. But on the other hand, Sanchez, nagkaintindihan ang dalawang Benilde players right at the paint. Gaspay with a free throw for the Blazers. Doesn't get it. He gets his own rebound. Look at the fight coming in from this kid. Why should I take a free throw if I can just get my own miss and land another foul?
And this is why St. Benilde feels like it got a gold mine in Jake Gaspay. Didn't really get his opportunities with LaSalle, but stayed in staff, tumawid lang, and found a home with CSP, and now he's proving why he was a staple for ICC before, and will try to bring that greatness with the Blazers. And now, don't look now, Hans, lamang na ang CSP.
28-26, a 2-point advantage para sa kupunan ng Benilde. If It's been frozen at 26 para sa Perpetual Altas after that Patrick Sleet layup. Looks like he's gonna try to do it again. A 3 is on the way. Alcantara misses. Morales, outlet pass. Patungo sa kabila. But Sleet was ready to retrieve. Kicking it out. 3 once more. That doesn't go in. Daha with the reception. Now it's Torres leaving for Sanchez. Pamantayan itong si John Abis. Screen from Gaspay. Could be used or not as Sanchez waves it off. Deals with the ISO. 5 seconds remaining. Offense played. No good. That play unfortunately kind of went nowhere there, Rodolph.
And that's really, I didn't really like that play for Justin Sanchez. Too long to create a shot and too much of a one-on-one for him.
Both teams racking up with misses. Daha again. Doesn't go in. Teams are looking for their basket. They haven't had that in a few minutes. Abis kicks it out. Alcantara second try. That's good.
And you really like how much Perpetual is making those extra passes. I know it's a low percentage shot to take the 3, but if that's open, you have to take that all day long. And finally, Josh Alcantara hitting a 3 down to restore order for Perpetual. They're back ahead.
That was a regular warm-up shot para kay Josh Alcantara, and that one was a not-so-regular foul. Look at this 3-point shot of the quarter. Brought to you by Jiang Nan Hotpot. Hotpot ba? Jiang Nan Na. And second time was the try. Second time is the charm para kay Josh Alcantara as he brings the lead back to Perpetual by 1.
And you see immediately Coach Charles bring back literally the big guns. Sean Umali, Allen Liwag back on the court together with Roger Ondoa. He didn't really like the flow of offense on that one. So now the starters are slowly being brought back in for the Blazers.
You know, I'm pretty much excited if Benilde ever makes it to the quarterfinals. How will they go up against the FSAs
Oh my goodness.
of the UAAP? That is going to be a movie to watch. But on the other hand, it's a turnover we're watching. Ian Torres, best player of the game last time, going to Daha. And that, I believe, is a foul called against Perpetual. That combination of Liwag and Umali, you know, that's going to be a story on its own when they reach quarters.
And you know, Allen Liwag, I applaud him trying to extend his game, trying to shoot those middies. But the question has been his readiness for those physicalities. This guy is not scared at all when it comes to banging bodies down low. And you hope that Allen Liwag can learn a thing or two when it comes to Sean Umali in those practices. Kumbaga, every time nagpa-practice ka, minamasahe ka nung Sean Umali.
Yan yung masahing masakit eh.
Oo.
Yung pag tinanong ka, ano yun, yung light, moderate, o gusto mo hard, hard talaga lagi ang mode of massage. Itong si Sean Umali.
Baka nga super hard sweat.
Yun lang. And I think for Sean Umali, right, this is a player na pag mas maliit yung kalaban, mamasahe ka. Pag mas malaki yung kalaban, masahe ka lalo. At ang mas malaki sa kanya, just got a 3. Allen Liwag extending his game once more. Takbuhan na naman ang Benilde. They get the lead right back. Unfortunately, umilaw na naman ang sideline. And that's a turnover for Benilde.
And again, going back to your point, the thing with Allen Liwag, Sean Umali combo is Sean can be a provider. He has that soft touch from the outside, but he has impeccable court vision. And that bodes well to sa game ni Allen Liwag, who really likes finishing to the rim and being the recipient of those good passes.
And a solid off-ball player.
Yeah.
He moves around the ball so well. 3 seconds remaining. Sleet needs to chuck up a shot. And that time, Nunez wanted to do it himself. But Umali didn't allow him. 24-second shot clock violation.
And that's really the beauty of having that twin tower combo for CSB. Perpetual wanted to go inside, but Allen Liwag just shut the door on them. When Jericho Nunez had the basketball, he just saw a raging Sean Umali barreling in his way and left him with no time to heave up that 3.
Double screen here, executed. They go to the right. Now it's Sean O'Malley. Soft double team ginagawa dito ng Perpetual. O'Malley at an island. Now here comes another attack. A second remaining. A shot goes nowhere. 31-29 with exactly 3 minutes to go. Sleet tries to go up against O'Malley and he finds that cut for two.
Patrick Sleet just faking Sean O'Malley and keeping Sean O'Malley stuck on the wing as he made his way to the baseline. Easy 2 points for Patrick Sleet.
Leading all Perpetual scorers with 7 points itong si Patrick Sleet. Now O'Malley goes power move using that extra English for the reverse.
And again, the soft touch of Sean O'Malley in full display. Literally big boy moves for CSB.
He leads Benilde with 7 points of his own as well. Now Sleet gives it to Boral. Now Duremdes. Perpetual kicking it out the ball. Boral gets another rebound. He's looking for an extra person and he finds Duremdes for the 2 points.
And you really love to see that passing game for Perpetual. A lot of hockey assists for them, but really sharing the ball, nothing forced for the boys of Coach Olsen Vasela.
Tikitan ang ating laban ngayon. Both teams not giving an inch. Palitan ng putos. It's Boral against O'Malley. Boral keeps tapping. O'Malley keeps rampaging. And a foul is called.
And you see that footwork from Sean O'Malley. That's just magnificent use of those feet.
Here's your PlayTime Cares play of the quarter. Brought to you by PlayTime Cares, elevating the next generation of Filipino athletes. And at that time, that was the feature. Now, this time, Sean O'Malley has been eating at the paint. 7 points already. I'm surprised that this is only his first visit to the free throw line. I mean, second. Yeah, second.
Yeah, and if you are a fan of the game, Sean O'Malley can't help but remember a guy by the name of Big Bo Belga with that footwork and really that capability of using those wide body into good use. Really crafty, very deceiving actually on the court.
He has the power of Bo Belga in the shooting of J.R. Guinyahan.
Yeah.
Like he's the epitome of extra rice.
It feels a crime to call him Little Bo. Because he's not little. But really, I really love seeing the game of Sean O'Malley from his days in LPU, and now he's putting it into good use in CSB.
Again, leading this team by his points. Look at him trying to swat from it. That time around, an attack is not going to work. Nunez, second shot is no-go. So with that being said, Jericho Nunez will be going to the line to shoot for two. Alam mo kanina, Randolph, itong si Jericho Nunez had the early 4 points, correct, para dito sa Perpetual, leading it off when nobody was scoring.
And maybe a quick adjustment for CSB, just marking him after that early timeout that they did. Kumbaga, nagulpit-igulat yung CSB on that early stages. But I also want to note, Hans, Kevin Gibao, another transferee from FEU. Players who are familiar with the system of Coach Olsen Rasela, Patrick Sleep we mentioned earlier, will be big in this second year for the Altas because it brings the familiarity of how he was running his system in FEU.
And that time, Ahoa made a run for it. He left it for Sean O'Malley, and Sean O'Malley made sure that the delivery was A-OK. 35-36. A little more than a minute remaining. 50 seconds remaining. Now that's Orgo. That's a drill that you do in warm-ups.
And that's just, I didn't like how Alin Liwa closed that one out. He's got the considerable size advantage over Sean Orgo. He could have blocked it without even jumping, but he got faked and he got punished for it.
37-36. Angat na ngayon ang Perpetual. 15 seconds on the shot clock as well. Nunez looking for some extra reinforcements. As Orgo kicks it out, Boral straight up three. That's good.
That's great recognition for JP Morales. He had the open shot despite having Aliliwag on him, but he got enough space to heave that three up.
Final possession goes to Benilde now. 2 seconds remaining. Kahumog, jumper. Doesn't even graze the rim. And after the first half of action, we're looking at a 4-point advantage brought about by the Perpetual Altas. PlayTime Cares, best plays of the quarter. Tila hindi gumalaw, Randolph, yung scoring output natin dahil apat pa rin ang naghahati sa dalawa.
Yeah, great plays from Perpetual, continuing to what works from them. Those assists have been impeccable in sharing the rock, but Sean Umali making his presence felt literally with bulldozing his way to the rim, but still the Altas are ahead by 4.
Altas 40, Blazers 36.
Sa ABC sigurado ka, sa dikitan di ka papalya. Sa ABC sigurado ka, pulido ang trabaho, di ka papalya. ABC, sigurado ka dito.
Itong part na to.
Okay po.
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Swerte sa akin ng Playtime. You're welcome!
El General All-Purpose Epoxy, palaban sa kahit anong dikitan.
Itong part na to.
si Vic Soto na ata ang pinakaswerteng tao sa Pilipinas. Kahit hindi niya alam, kahit hindi niya sinasadya. Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo. Swerte sa akin ng Playtime. You're welcome! Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
Hindi mo tayo makakapenta. Yes! Don't worry. Be unleashed with Smart's Power All 99. Hindi bitin ang benta with only TikTok or Facebook plus 10 gig data and more. Load now.
Di abot ang data!
GG bro! Don't worry. Be unleashed with Smart Power All 99. Hindi bitin with 10 gig data to power your games plus only Facebook or only TikTok. Load now.
swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
Playtime! Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Swerte sa akin ng Playtime. You're welcome!
Hindi abot ang data. Nice!
Don't worry. Be unleashed with Smart Power All 99. Hindi nabitin with 10 gig data plus only Facebook or TikTok and more. Load now.
El General All-Purpose Epoxy, palaban sa kahit anong dikitan.
Sa ABC sigurado ka. Sa dikitan di ka papalya. Sa ABC sigurado ka. Pulido ang trabaho, di ka papalya. ABC, sigurado ka dito.
Itong part na to.
Okay po.
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Swerte sa akin ng Playtime. You're welcome!
El General All-Purpose Epoxy, palaban sa kahit anong dikitan.
Itong part na to.
si Vic Soto na ata ang pinakaswerteng tao sa Pilipinas. Kahit hindi niya alam, kahit hindi niya sinasadya. Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo. Swerte sa akin ng Playtime. You're welcome! Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Taas nun, ha? Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo.
Hindi mo tayo makakapenta! Yes! Don't worry! Be unleashed with Smart's Power All 99. Hindi bitin ang benta with only TikTok or Facebook plus 10 gig data and more. Load now!
Di abot ang data!
GG bro!
Don't worry! Be unleashed with Smart Power All 99. Hindi bitin with 10 gig data to power your games plus only Facebook or only TikTok. Load now!
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
Playtime! Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Ang bilis! Swerte sa akin ng Playtime. You're welcome!
Hindi aabot ang data. Nice!
Don't worry! Be unleashed with Smart Power All 99. Hindi na bitin with 10 gig data plus only Facebook or TikTok and more. Load now!
Halftime stats presented to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. CSB Blazers at ang Perpetual Altas with the Altas leading by 40-36. Looking at it, Randolph, hati naman sa turnovers, but I'm sure there's still a lot we want to talk about.
Yeah, really, Perpetual doing an impeccable job sharing the basketball. 12 assists in this game. 12 of those 15 conversions from the field coming off assist. 4 3-pointers, a glaring advantage for them. And you really love how they've been sharing the basketball. For CSB naman, the big man have been the difference maker for them. Obviously, the Allen Liwag, Sean Umali combo has worked to a T. However, the bench guys like Justin Sanchez has to do a better job in sustaining that group.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we've seen some signs or size of relief every single time na meron mga bench players that would score for the Benilde Blazers. Because, again, yung mga nasa bench from last game are now part of the starting five. And that is usually the risk pag ang pinagsabay mo ay itong si Sean Umali and Allen Liwag. It's the next man up for the next big man of the Benilde Blazers.
And you expect Coach Charles Chu to really hammer out that point. It doesn't mean that you're starting, I don't trust you. And you see there, Sean Umali making the biggest difference for them, scoring 10. Josh Kahukom had an admirable job scoring 6. Meanwhile, Patrick Sleet, as the veteran as he is, and JP Boral both leading the charge with 7. And Jericho Nunez, you talked about earlier, scoring those first 4 points, finishing 6 after the first 2 quarters.
Leading scorers presented to you by PlayTime Cares, and not only that, because again, hati yung scoring output ng ating Perpetual Altas. There's at least like multiple players. No, that's 11 different players scoring para sa Perpetual. Same could almost be said para dito sa Blazers. But again, every single time yung system na pinapairal nitong si Coach Olsen Racela in his short time so far with the Altas have been working so well in this first half of action.
You know, Hans, when it comes to coaching changes, people will always say the first year, medyo may growing pains. But the second year is really the test for the coaches. And dito na papasok yung mga transferees, yung mga recruits mo from the last year. And now, the transferees of Perpetual making Coach Olsen Racela look great with their performance so far in the first half. But we still have 2 quarters to play. Let's see if they can first inflict that first dent doon sa immaculate record so far ng CSP in our preseason.
Same could be said para kay Coach Charles Chu. Man that you're seeing on your screens, he was able to lead this Benilde roster patungo sa grand finals of that season 100. At this moment, you'd love to be able to give more opportunities for your players. Ancheta doesn't get that in, but Umali wide open. Somebody has to give. And at that moment, it is JP Boral. This is, you know, one of the pains that you have to endure when you go up against Sean Umali.
Yeah, really making you feel the weight on your shoulders. And unfortunately, the JP Boral looked like he sprained his foot on his way down. And again, you see this twin tower combo for CSB. Immediately, they went to that paint because they acknowledge that they have the size advantage on the front court.
Now Maglupay, beautiful turnaround, the control in midair.
Yeah, just shaking off Justin Sanchez with that spin move to get the first 2 points in the second half for Perpetual.
Now Allen Liwag leaves it off for Justin Sanchez. 10 seconds on the clock. Gets a screen from Umali. Step back 3 is good.
And again, we're talking about this kid, Justin Sanchez, about unlocking your potential. That is one of the things that you can expect from Justin Sanchez. We're just hoping that he can be more consistent in hitting that 3.
4 points in the game for Justin Sanchez. Goho Cruz finds nobody else but Sanchez, leaving it for Ancheta once again. Casinillo blocks that driveway. Sanchez in an island once more. And then Ancheta gets a screen from Umali. But Noah chooses the paint. Mid-range jumper, that doesn't go. Casinillo slows it down. He leaves it for Gelsano. You see passing, unselfish basketball, but then almost a steal. Casinillo decides to take matters into his own hands.
No one trying to intercept the pathway for Eli Casinillo. That floater is just money.
5 points now for Casinillo. He's made a 3 in that first half. Lead goes back up to 3. 44-41. Here, pakpak na naman sa paint.
Oh,
And that time the pass, just a little too strong. Galing dito kay Allen Liwag.
and again, you see how much the defense of Perpetual respects Allen Liwag, trying to really, kumbaga ginugulo siya whenever he gets the ball inside.
More info about our teams from Courtney Buenaventura.
My duty is to see the team succeed. Yan ang sabi ni Coach Charles Chu. That means improving players individually and strengthening their team culture. With that, Celis caught his attention. Coach was actually impressed with his impact in their last game. Celis racked up 3 assists in just 1 minute, showing exactly the kind of unselfish team-first mentality that they're trying to build, proving he can make the right plays even in limited minutes only. Dagdag pa ni Coach na that's exactly what they are looking for in a player, a smart, selfless player. And now in a tight quarter like this, we're seeing a battle of composure and teamwork, exactly the kind of test that brings out the best in a system like Benilde's. Hans, Randolph?
Maraming salamat, Courtney Buenaventura. You know, as a coach, you love seeing it as Sean O'Malley gets another basket to go for him. 15 in total for the big guy. And just like what he said, Coach Charles wants to lead his team to victory. 2-0 in the preseason is the best way to go. But that time, that's Tolapot getting a basket.
You know, as great or as stacked as CSB is, these early returns have been promising. But kumbaga, they don't feel that they are really being tested just yet. Diba? Maganda yung performance nila so far, but there are still chinks in the armor of CSB that they can still improve on. Sean O'Malley is rectifying a lot. As Courtney reported, Rafi Celis, you know how good that kid is from his time in Cebu, in his high school, and then his loan year in Ateneo. You expect players to slowly mesh, but remember, as great as they are individually, basketball is still a team game, and it's a matter of how they will build that chemistry in playing together to lead them to that success that they want.
You see those three assists that he had in a minute last game. That's what you like seeing. The distribution of basketball within yourself and your teammates. As now we are all tied up at 46 all. And at that time, it is a foul caused by Justin Sanchez. And it's L.A. Casimilio going to the line to shoot for three. Alan Casinilio is one of those two players, a lot of those players that you can definitely expect to contribute from the free throw line, brought to you by ABC Tile Adhesives. ABC Tile Adhesive, sigurado ka dito.
And you know, Hans, I really like how Perpetual is weathering this storm from CSB. CSB starting off with a power five. Ali Liwag, Sean O'Malley, Justin Sanchez, Joe Milacheta, and Roger Ondoa. They're five on the floor. But L.A. Casinilio is doing a great job in steering this team in the early moments of our third quarter. And they're still up by 3. So kumbaga nasusurvive nila yung strong start na gusto sana ng Blazers.
At bukod pa dun yung mga pinasok dito ni Coach Olsen Racela weren't the big guys that were part of that starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean,
it's Angelo Gelsano and JM Tulabot not even seeing action in that first quarter.
And remember, JP Bural immediately had to exit the game in that first possession, seemingly spraining his ankle. But again, just an impeccable performance for them in this contest.
49-46. Lamang na tatlo ang Perpetual. Ancheta tries again and he will not be denied this time.
Nasosobra na daw tayo ng puri kay L.A. Casinilio. Nagpaparamdam muli si Jomel Ancheta, who's been a stable presence on the point for the Blazers.
He was scoreless in that first half. That was his first 3 points to tie us all up at 49 apiece once more. Now it's Benilde's turn. Have a chance to take the lead if they can. Gelsano trying to guard O'Malley, and look at that defense from the reserve.
Yeah, great defense by Angelo Gelsano, bringing that toothless aggression on the defense against Sean O'Malley.
Goho Cruz noticing the bigger defender. Tulabot lines up a 3. That's no good. Perpetual still unable to break the deadlock. Sanchez asking for a screen. O'Malley is looming around the corner. O'Malley, 3 on the way. That does not work. And O'Malley is down. Play continues. And I think from the looks of it, coaching staff absolutely infuriated with what happened. Let's look at this. Opening.
Oh, that was a landing spot, but was left unwhistled by the referees. I thought Gelsano already did not get to the airspace of Sean O'Malley, but that replay really gave us a better vantage point. Kumbaga parang humabol on the way down.
Really quite unfortunate galing kay Sean O'Malley dito. As again, that landing spot is definitely important.
And you know, if that was called, that's an automatic unsportsmanlike
Oh,
foul.
yeah.
However, the referees did not even blow the whistle on that one. So let's see how they will attest on this one.
If they're gonna revive that play
Yeah.
to make it a foul.
But that's a stoppage call. They halted the action. So that, kumbaga hindi mo na pwedeng bawiin yung hindi mo na itawag.
That would potentially be the case there as our officials are trying to figure something out. But at that time... Oh, wow.
Warning on number 28.
I think that's a warning. Wow. Para kay Sean Umali for faking a foul.
I don't know about that one. But again, you cannot call something that was not whistled in the first place.
So I think that was the best they could, unfortunately come up
And
with.
they had to halt the action because Sean O'Malley was writhing in pain.
And he was unable to play during that time. Look at that.
And I believe that's going to be a technical foul on Jomel Ancheta when he was jostling for position against Mark Gojo Cruz.
Cruz standing his ground. And now, Jomel Ancheta.
There was definitely some physicality there.
Oh, yeah.
But on the other side, there's also a bit of an acting job for Jomel Ancheta. And junctures like these can make or break one team, especially with the game tied at 49. Seems like this is being used as a rallying point for the Blazers.
And as a tight of a ball game as this is, those free throws, especially getting your emotions intact, is really going to be important. Because again, we're halfway at the third quarter, and we haven't seen a lot of separation between these two teams. Sanchez looking to be defended. He decides to instill his way.
They will give the continuation.
And from the looks of it, the basket is good. Para kay Justin Sanchez, an awakening. Mula sa kanya, he scored 7 points in the third quarter alone, and we're not even. We just got past the halfway point.
Yeah, and I didn't really like that JM Tulabut was just too late on the help. Justin Sanchez already getting that advantage down low.
Justin Sanchez on the free throw.
Justin Sanchez now is going to be extending that CSP lead to 2 points.
Narinig yata tayo ni Justin Sanchez eh. Hinihintay natin yung breakout niya.
He was like, say less.
Got you, bros.
Hold my jersey. 52 to 50. Benilde is now at the lead. Doremdes looks to continue. They're gonna feed a big down low. Abis challenged by the defense. Now Doremdes lights it up. That's good.
What a way to bail your team out. Kenji Doremdes just answering the call and just making that 3 count when all else looks like it's bound to fail.
Now Ancheta challenges the defense. And that is good from Jomel Ancheta.
Yeah, Jomel Ancheta just too crafty. Quick on the first step. Kenji Doremdes was just too late to contest that basket. And he will get a chance for the end one.
That quick first step proven to be absolutely scary. Para kay Jomel Ancheta. Lead goes back para dito sa Benilde Blazers. Ancheta has 6 in the quarter.
Again, remember, this was just going to be the second year for Jomel Ancheta in CSP, but he's no slouch. He's a veteran. He's shown his worth in his time with CEU, and now he's making believers here in CSP.
Now Liwag at an island against the Perpetual defenders. Had to shrug him off as well. The season 100 MVP showing how it's done. PlayTime Cares Play of the Quarter. Brought to you by PlayTime Cares, elevating the next generation of Filipino athletes. Allen Liwag, too big, too strong. Perpetual needs a timeout.
Itong part na to.
Si Vic Soto na ata ang pinakaswerteng tao sa Pilipinas. Kahit hindi niya alam, kahit hindi niya sinasadya. Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cashback sa 2%. Guaranteed 10 minutes ang cash out. Over 2,500 games para maraming chances manalo. Swerte sa akin ng Playtime. You're welcome!
Hindi umuulan!
Di mo tayo makakapenta!
Yes!
Don't worry! Be unleashed with Smart's Power All 99. Hindi bitin ang benta with only TikTok or Facebook plus 10 gig data and more. Load now!
You're still watching PlayTime Cares Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup, presented to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. Still, Hans Galeria, Randolph Leongson, and of course Courtney Buenaventura joining you at courtside. It is the College of St. Benilde leading 57-53 now after what was a 40-36 affair. So Benilde already scoring 21 points in under 6 minutes of action.
And again, you really love how the Blazers seemingly woke up after Sean O'Malley's exit. You see Allen Liwag being more aggressive and driving to the rim. Also, Jomel Ancheta making his presence felt here in the third quarter.
Sleep from top of the key gets it right back.
And
Now
this
a
is
foul is called.
that's how Coach Olsen responds, by bringing in a veteran in Patrick Sleep back in the game.
Back in foul number 13, Ian Gomez. That's his first 3 on the Blazers.
Blazers still not at penalty situation, so they still have one more foul to give. Sleep gets it from inbound. Duremdes, some room. Does not get it anyway. But a foul is called once more against Benilde this time.
Foul number 6, Mo Morales.
It's going to be on Mo Morales. So a fresh 14 will be awarded to Perpetual.
Quality minutes by Kenji Duremdes as he exits this game momentarily. Now Josh Alcantara. He hit a 3 earlier. Let's see what will he do in the second half.
Alcantara, you called him. It's not going to work, but look who's down under. John Abbas.
And they need that second chance conversions when Allen Liwag was not even looking. He was being held down by another, so Moel Morales had no other choice but to foul John Abbas, who just got the other goal stab, offensive board, and now will try to get the bonus.
You know, just like an excuse by some kids that I would usually play basketball with, yung mga air balls na yun na nakuha. De, pasa talaga yun.
Yeah. And you know, also credit that to the other players of Perpetual in boxing out itong si Allen Liwag. He had no other choice. He had no angle to get that offensive rebound.
Lead goes down to 2, 57-55. Less than 3 minutes to go in the third. Ancheta, some room. Kaboom!
And again, Jomel Ancheta injecting life to CSP in the third quarter. He's been a revelation in this third.
Ancheta already with 9 points. All scored in the third. An awakening from the guards. Lead kicks it out. Alcantara this time. Short. But the officials, it was very obvious. Today is a push day. But here you go, a three-pointer of the quarter. Brought to you by Jiangnan Hot Pot. Hot Pot pa. Jiangnan na. Jomel Ancheta started to heat up.
And here's the thing, penalty situation now. Crippling the Altas. Morales back on the line for 2.
The That's already 3 points para dito kay Mo Morales. And not only that, because he's holding his own in Sean O'Malley's absence, who we hope is going to get better in the next few days.
Hopefully nothing serious for Sean O'Malley. It's a promising sign that he's on the bench, but let's see if he will be deployed back on the court. But Moel Morales doing an admirable job at the 4.
Also with 4. Patrick Sleep tries to go up against his defenders, and that time it's already a foul, I believe, called against Ian Torres. With that being said, Patrick Sleep will be going to the line to shoot for 2.
And you know, Hans, what I don't really like with how Perpetual has played in this third quarter, nawala yung pasahe. That has been the biggest ace up their sleeve in that first quarter, in the first half. And now they're settling more with rush shots, one-on-one plays, and that has enabled CSB to retake, kumbaga naagaw yung lamang.
There's more passing actually happening for CSB.
Yeah.
And at this point, there needs to be a facilitator para dito sa unan ng Perpetual as they trail by 5, 62-57.
2 minutes.
Just a major thought here para sa kanila ngayon. Ian Torres in the score in this game. Ancheta almost loses possession and now loses it. Alcantara kicks it out. Would have been a shot already for Sleet, but Nunez repays the effort.
Wanted the assist more rather than the points, but again, Jericho Nunez being on the receiving end of another nice pass to open 8 points for him.
Again, those passes are going to be crucial. Morales straight up. That is good from the big guy.
That's just too late of a help for Jericho Nunez. Moel Morales had all day to shoot that one.
Again, Morales with 5 points in this third quarter. In the absence of Sean O'Malley after that injury, he has proven to make himself playable for Coach Charles Chu. A minute left in the third. Torres asking for a screen. Iwa gives it to him. Mo's getting it right back, but Mo scrambling for the offense here is Benilde. Liwag, some room once more. Off to the right, but look at Morales.
And that's just great recognition by Moel Morales. Allen Liwag was attracting the defense to go outside. He's just waiting for that ball to go down, and he was rewarded with another set of points.
7 points in the quarter, 9 in total for Mo Morales. Sleet gives it to Orgo, fly by midi. That's not gonna work. And with that being said, the passes here from Perpetual, they have some shots, but they keep passing up on them.
And you know, I feel like Perpetual has become predictable in a way. The CSB defense knows that the ball will always go to the hands of Patrick Sleet. So whenever Patrick Sleet receives the ball, the extra attention for them, they always clog lanes for him. And that forces them to rush those plays.
Now is the final play, 5 seconds remaining in the third. Torres slides it up, doesn't get it. And at that time, Patrick Sleet, it's the back of the board to end 3 quarters of action. A solid effort from Perpetual, but this one, the third quarter, PlayTime Cares' best plays of the quarter goes to Benilde. How are they able to get this 8-point lead?
Again, despite Sean O'Malley exiting at the midway point, Allen Liwag, Jomel Ancheta making difference. Moel Morales also has sets of points in there. And now, all of a sudden, they are ahead by 8 points.
Fourth quarter when we return.
Matibay na dikitan, kahoy man o bakal, kahit sa kompleto, pwedeng imasilya, kahit anong dikitan. ABC, palaban sa kahit anong dikitan.
Final quarter of action dito sa inyong PlayTime Filoil EcoOil Center para sa inyong PlayTime Cares Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup. Hans Galeria, Randolph Leongson, and of course Courtney Buenaventura at courtside. And that right there is Patrick Sleet. If you're gonna give me the ball all the time, might as well shoot it.
And you know that guy is capable of taking over, but again, we need to see more players contributing for Perpetual. That was nice coming off an assist, but we need more contributions.
Here is Morales once again. That's been his spot.
And that's just signature para dito kay Moel Morales. That corner is just too easy for him.
Now in double figures at 12 points, itong si Mo Morales. Another corner three on the way. That doesn't go in. Backs out by Nunez. Kaspay, just a taller and a heftier player. 70-62. Benilde looking to pull away now. Morales gets into Halalon na bagong pasok lamang kanina. Torres, 3. It doesn't go in, but it's an open shot. Now here's Orco. But before that shot was pulled, a foul is called. Now we toss it over to Courtney Buenaventura.
Most of us knows Patrick Sleet's decision to transfer was about following a coach he trusts. When I asked him why, Patrick said it's the way Coach Olsen helps his players grow, not just on the court but as individuals. That kind of mentorship meant a lot to him, and it was a big factor in his decision. Also, since this is his debut game for Filoil, if there's one thing Patrick says you can always expect from him, it's that he is actually a chill guy. But watching him now in this last quarter, is that laid-back chill version still there, or is Patrick Sleet flipping the switch? Thoughts on this, Hans and Randolph?
You know what? That gave me something to think about. Because again, Patrick Sleet doesn't really get a lot of, celebrations, right? He's just a chill guy, just like what Courtney has mentioned. But whenever he holds the ball, I think it's a completely different Patrick that we see. Look at that, right on cue.
And you don't need to celebrate every basket as long as you can celebrate after the game with the win. And now, kumbaga nag-iba na rin yung role ni Patrick Sleet dito. He's no longer the role player that he was in FU. He's gonna be looked at as a go-to guy. And being familiar with Coach Olsen's system, you have to be the one to lead by example.
Oh, but look at that. Announcing his return is Sean O'Malley. Now this is a guy who has some emotions to say, as I believe that is one called a halalon miss. There was another opening, and then he started screaming on Patrick Sleet's face. And look at that, just like what Courtney mentioned, it's a fact.
As much as we appreciate that, the thing that the referees are saying that pwede kang mag-celebrate na hindi mo pinapamukha dun sa kalaban mo eh. Pwede mo isigaw sa crowd, pero masyadong in your face yung ginawa ni Sean O'Malley.
There was a significant amount of distance.
Yeah.
It's very obvious who he's looking at. Si Patrick Sleet lang kasi yung nandun eh.
Kumbaga, kung ikaw si Patrick Sleet, naamoy mo yung tanghalian ni Sean O'Malley.
Yung amoy nung handpat pa ganun eh.
But again, that's the FIBA rules to you. It's just maintaining some semblance of order, di ba? Like, hindi naman sa we're shying away from showing your emotions, but it's just to keep everyone in the same light. Because we don't want to have any unfortunate incidents na, di ba, emotions getting the better of each one, and then it escalates. And that's what we're trying to avoid here.
Turnover para sa Perpetual. Umali. Now here's an attack from the three, and that is good para kay Jericho Halalon.
Jericho Halalon showing that he's not just a passenger, that he can also be a driver, just like his brother Gio. But now he will try to do it for CSP.
That time, it's Patrick Sleet. Anong passenger, Princess Randolph? Pwede rin ako maging driver. And Halalon that time gets a three. I wonder why they got so happy about that call. This is Sleet. There you have it once more. Sleet. There's a jump. He absorbed some contact. I think they're thinking of whether or not it's kind of like a tap from Cometa.
Yeah, and I think they're reviewing if it's over the shoulders because if that's a hit over the shoulders, that's immediately an unsportsmanlike foul on FIBA rules. Kasi nagkakaroon na ng konting kulay. And it's just the preseason,
Right.
mind you.
Magtutuloy-tuloy pa to, magkikita pa ang ating dalawang teams ngayon.
And you see now 4 team fouls for CSB. It's going to be a cause of concern for them. And true enough, it's going to be an unsportsmanlike foul on Gab Cometa.
Now, it's gonna matter, honestly, kung paano gagamitin ng Perpetual yung penalty situation. Because again, I think back in first quarter or the second quarter, nasa ganitong sitwasyon din ang Benilde. But then, Perpetual wasn't able to capitalize on that.
Talking about that first quarter, that raging start for them, put CSB in penalty situation in that first quarter, but they did not really, they were unable to capitalize on that one. And now this will be very handful for them. Now it's winning time.
Quite unfortunate, as these free throws are brought to you by ABC Tile Adhesives. ABC Tile Adhesives, sigurado ka dito. And at that moment, sigurado yung dalawang mintes. Itong si Patrick Sleet, as the bench of Benilde was giving him some problems.
And they needed those baskets. They are down by 10.
But you know what? Sleet was like, if I get another chance, I'm going for it.
And what a way to rectify those misses by hitting that under goal stab. And again, nice passing from Perpetual. This is what worked for them all game long, and they cannot deviate from what they're doing.
They caught the defense lacking during that time. They were facing itong si Patrick Sleet. Looking at it again, Tulapot, off pass, Celis was looking at the other side. Oh, that's a not so chip. Oh, you know what? He's smiling, but he's kind of like talking a bit of smack too, and we'll take it. 75-67. A bit more than 7 minutes to go. Gaspay chooses the center, and look at a drop pass to Celis, getting the 2.
Nice acrobatic move by Rafi Celis. But again, that extra pass from Jake Gaspay leading to that basket. And again, the emotion.
Patrick Sleet has his first personal foul. You know, that's how chill he was. He didn't even have a personal foul ever since that one. And that personal foul, dun pa sa offensive foul.
But you didn't like that because that's an offensive foul. That's a turnover for your side. Another chance for CSB to extend this.
Here goes O'Malley. Iniwan na naman. And at that time, hawakan na rin kita, Randolph, ha? Wag.
Again, no easy baskets. But this is emblematic of how the NCAA field views the CSB team. Not just because of their immaculate 2-0 record, but this is how strong this team is. And if you can get a win over them, regardless if it's the season proper or the preseason pa lang, that's going to be a big jolt of morale boost to your team.
Because you know they're gonna be playing 100%.
Yeah.
Whether it's the preseason, whether it's the season, whether it's overseas or local, they even have, at some point their closer lineup.
And it feels a crime that a guy as great as Rafi Celis is coming off the bench for them.
That's how stacked this team is. The lead goes up to 12, 79-67 with 6:39 remaining.
On purpose, emotion, adrenaline, matibay na dikitan. Kahoy man o bakal, Boxy, palaban sa kahit anong dikitan.
(79-67). We started off the third quarter with, I believe, an advantage by Benilde. That's 8 points. And now it has went up to 12. And the question for Perpetual and Coach Olsen Racela, who's going to be that next man to close out the gap?
Yeah, Patrick Slade has been the main man for them, but no one else stepping up for them. You expect now the backcourt of LA Casillo and Mark Gojo Cruz to really make their imprint.
That time, JP Boral wanted to test the defense, but he was denied. Lead stays at 12, and Cometa is instructing orders upon his group of Blazers on the floor. O'Malley had some room. Iniwan na lang para kay Celis, but that was still well defended. Good recovery for Perpetual.
But you see the soft touch by Sean O'Malley, putting it to good use.
Look at Casinillo trying to fight through everybody. And apparently that does not work. Now they're looking to slow it down. Halalon gets it back. Halalon uses that middle. Leaves it for Gaspay. Sasalubungin ni Gaspay. Turn around. Jumper is money. And the Benilde bench absolutely love that. Gaspay now has 7. 81-67 with 5:24 remaining. Perpetual needs to look for something here. Maybe replicate the hot start that they've had. Here's Tolabot. Strong. Maglupay is fouled. And now the penalty situation will come into effect.
And I really like that from Allen Maglupay, just going hard to the basket. As you see this Bostic El General rebound of the quarter to get that second chance point.
That was the rebound of the quarter indeed. Coming in from Allen Maglupay.
However, though,
that's gotta be painful because again, parang mas ramdam mo kasi kung gaano ka-demoralizing yung free throw miss, lalo na pag naghahabol ka.
Yeah, the clock isn't moving. All eyes is on you, especially you are playing catch-up, and then you muff those golden opportunities to really close in. Mas bumibigat yung weight sa shoulders mo.
And at that time, Maglupay does not allow the rim to deny him twice. Maglupay has 5. Gojo Cruz will sit down. And Perpetual, they're looking to bounce back from a 13-point deficit, 81-68. Cometa looks for some extra people. Play is developing for the Blazers. O'Malley wants Perpetual all alone to himself. Challenged by the defense, double teamed. Doesn't go in. Orgo will slow it down this time and then speed it up quickly. Remdes had an opening. Deciding to not shoot it as he wants to play the slow down. Again, this is Maglupay. Now Remdes has a defender on him. Play going nowhere to Labot. Doesn't get that bounce off.
Everyone just going gun-shy for Perpetual. They've got lots of opportunities there, but no one really courageous enough to take those shots.
Look at SJ Moore noticing na hindi pa nakakapag-set up yung depensa ng Perpetual. And he went straight into business.
And that's where SJ Moore got famous back in his high school days with Arellano. Just exploiting on that open court, exploding to the rim, and attacking the basketball.
A miss from SJ Moore keeps us at 13 points. The question is how will the second go. That is going to be a make for the high flyer, SJ Moore. We haven't seen him in a while dito sa laban na ito, but he now has, I believe, 4 points sa laban ito. Abis giving a screen for Maglupay. Now here's another shot from Nunez. They've been trying that mid-range for a while now.
Nothing happening for Perpetual, settling for those mid-range shots to no avail again. They have deviated from what worked from them, which was off-ball movement and player movement.
Speaking of plays, Cometa giving it to Omani, another turn using that extra pivot step. Goes to no avail. 3:20 left in this game. Nunez, that's a pass to Maglupay and he gets fouled. You know what I like about Nunez? He's been doing that for a while now. Yung mga cut to the basket passes niya have been great. It's just that the conversions are in there or hindi pumapatong sa kanila yung tawag.
And in the same light, Allen Maglupay also trying to inject some energy, being aggressive and crashing the boards and cutting to the rim. However, like what you said, finishing has been the main bane for them in this fourth quarter. And everything has been a struggle for the Altas.
Perpetual, though, could potentially chip away, do some chip damage on the lead na hawak ng Benilde as Maglupay. That's an extra point to his tally. He has 7 now. Looking for a slight full court press dito. Ang Perpetual leaving Sanchez open. That doesn't go in, but look at Cometa coming out of nowhere.
Angulat's got Cometa on the rebound, just getting the ball out of the hands of Kenji Duremdes.
Sanchez now choosing to get inside, but that time Abis was ready for the rejection. Moore, tutok lang ang puhunan, he gets it in. SJ Moore has 6. Abis has a second try. Doesn't get a third as it's well defended by Benilde.
Also a rush shot for John Abis.
But look at SJ Moore. He was absorbing contact, but he couldn't plant a different foot in time. So with that being said, traveling violation para sa Benilde.
And again, Allen Maglupay playing impeccable defense on SJ Moore. He already knew what SJ Moore was about to do. He was ready for the swipe, and the referee was right there to blow the whistle.
Look at this. Kevin Gibao getting some extra minutes in the fourth quarter. As Perpetual looking to make something happen here. Now here's Abis for 3. Halos puro doon yung tama ng kanilang mga tira. And that play continues. Benilde is on the run for it. They're gonna try to slow something down, but hold up. If a Benilde player is down close to Perpetual players, there's also someone down on the other side.
2 guys down for CSB. Jericho Halalo looks like he was shaken up. Joshua Kaubam being picked up too.
That's his first personal foul.
Benilde taking damage here, but they've also done the damage in this game, leading by 14. Let's take a look at it one more time. Here it goes.
I don't know really what happened there. Seems like nagkaroon ng konting kiskisan si John Abis at si Jericho Halalon, but Josh Kahukum was just caught on a bench on that one. No ill intent between him and Allen Maglupay.
Yeah, immediately apologizing yung dalawa.
But again,
Review technical foul on Jericho Halalo for a foul.
yeah, again, nothing untoward really happening there between Halalon and Abis. So that was the right call from the referee.
Yeah, he wanted to at least come clean to our officials about that situation. But again, tama ka eh, the landing wasn't, you know, as light.
There was no obvious push off. Nagkaroon lang, yes, there was contact, but again, we have to give credit where credit is due. And again, with all due respect to our referees, they don't always get the right call. We may not always agree on something, but they will always try to call it right down the middle.
Come up with the best possible call there is.
That's why we're here, and they are doing that job.
Yes.
Because I don't want their job one bit.
It is difficult to make decisions in a game like this, in a game that's tighter than this. But now, Josh Kahubom, 2 for 2 from the line. 8 points para dito kay Kahubom in less than 2 minutes to go. Lupay tosses it to Pizarro, but he loses it. Mamadali na naman. Now Halalo, iiwan kay Sanchez, and what a patient move. Kumbaga, initially, ano na yun, layup na yun sa kaliwa eh.
And also, on the other end, just Perpetual just falling apart when it mattered the most. And that's going to be part of the growing pains for this new team of Coach Olsen Racela. Obviously, you want to build on the gains from last year in Season 100. You got your recruits coming in, you got your homegrown studs coming in, but it still takes time for them to mesh. And this is the standard. You're looking at St. Benilde's, the Mapuas, even the San Bedas as the standard that you want to really put yourself in. And right now, you may not get the win, but at least you competed. But now, it's going to be a deeper introspection for them to really look at what they need to do to get to that next level to be able to get a W next time.
It's a matter of, you know, having the right mix of activating both your mainstays from last season and also the transfers that are looking to make a name for themselves. And this is something that we could see more from Perpetual in the near future, because as of the moment, Benilde, in that past 2 games, Coach Charles looking to lead this team to victory. To them, this is not just a preseason. This is a tournament that we have to win, just like all of the other tournaments that we've had.
And really, this is somewhat of a statement for CSB. You see there, Sean O'Malley got injured in the 3rd quarter, but they were able to weather the storm. And then a lot of contributions coming. Moel Morales, SJ Moore had his moments. Justin Sanchez also had his chances to really show and prove to everyone why people look at CSB as one of the standards come NCAA Season 101.
Right about that. In that moment, CSB, I think for most of the time that we've seen from this roster all throughout this season, as Kahubom got that shot in, dikit yung kanilang mga nakaraang dalawang laban. But this one is different. They wanted to make a statement, like you said, and open the runway. SJ Moore with an exclamation point to finish things off in this game.
Need we say more? I mean, that's just
your smart power dunk. SJ Moore. That was a green light. He opened his wings, and PlayTime Filoil EcoOil Center opened the runway.
And what a way to cap off the 3rd play date of our premier preseason tournament. And what a way to also cap off an impending 3rd victory for CSB. But on the other side, still a lot of positives for Perpetual hands. I mean, Patrick Street obviously emerging as a go-to guy for them. Eli Casinilio having his moments, but still a lot of learning for the Altas.
Just going to be fixing on one last play until everything has already been figured out. And with this game, Benilde is gonna be moving on to 3 wins and 0 losses. The program instilled by Coach Charles Chu is yet to be decoded. And Perpetual, their debut, is gonna be missing as they move down to 0-1. Lots of games would still be played, but Benilde, the College of St. Benilde Blazers, gets their statement, a dominating win in that second half as they win by 20, 92 for the College of St. Benilde Blazers, 72 for the University of Perpetual Help System DALTA Altas.
Again, a superb second half charge for the Blazers to earn this 20-point victory. It was a lot closer than what the final score dictates, but really just a show of depth and prowess for the Blazers to go up and take early leadership in our NCAA group.
The story was about chemistry, trying to build on most of those assists. We've seen that at the first half and specifically first quarter mula sa ating Perpetual Altas. But in the end, the chemistry that was built up already all throughout the past 2 games mula sa Benilde have been proven to be worthy, courtesy of Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, Sean O'Malley, well deserving of our ABC Tile Adhesive heavy duty player of the game nod. 17 points, 5 rebounds, and really just an all-out impact to lead his team to their 3rd win.
Solid victory mula dito sa Benilde Blazers. They were given, actually, by Patrick Sleet a run for their money from that first half. But there were lots of plays being executed by the side of Benilde. And not only that, talagang buon sila pumukpok sa paint. And there were bench players as well. This is what you've been talking about. Yung concept of having that next man. Moel Morales even had 12 points.
Yeah, John Milancheta also having his moments. Even Jericho Alalon having significant contributions down the stretch. Also, Rafi Celis, Jake Gaspay, everyone having their share of the limelight to lead their team to the victory.
Smart, power the plays of the game have been proven to be really solid and showcased what they can do. And for Coach Olsen Racela, it's back to the drawing board from them. They had some promise. They had a showcase of the potential na magkakaroon itong lineup na to. We haven't even seen some of the players that were brought to, you know, from the junior to the senior program. And I think that is a development na posible pa nating makita moving forward.
Again, this is only their first game. Malayo pa to. This is a 3-month stretch for us here in our PlayTime 18th Filoil EcoOil Preseason Cup. But immediately, itong CSB ay nagpaparamdam na, as you see here, 33 of 61 sa kanilang field goals. And yung 3-pointers has been the biggest difference maker for them, hitting 9 in this contest.
That highlight or the total team stats presented to you by ABC Tile Adhesive. ABC Tile Adhesive, sigurado ka dito. And in behalf of the production, Courtney Buenaventura, my partner Randolph Leongson, my name is Hans Galeria. We'll see you at the next PlayTime Cares Filoil EcoOil 18th Preseason Cup.
Palabaran sa kahit anong dikitan. Sa ABC sigurado ka, sa dikitan di ka papalya. Sa ABC sigurado ka, pulindo ang trabaho, di ka papalya. ABC, sigurado ka dito.
Itong part na to.
Okay po.
Swerte si Vic. Ikaw kaya, subukan mo sa
Playtime! Pinakamataas sa cash